Good morning, and welcome to the Fantasy Fallout Podcast with me, your host, the Charm City Cash Cow, as they call me, Michael Schussler, head editor of whatsonsports.com. How's everyone doing? Tuesday morning, and we have Tuesday night football, as you can tell, rocking the birds. It's a purple Tuesday here, just outside the Charm City in little Silver Run, Maryland. Quite a weekend of football as week 13 wraps up tonight with the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Charm City to face the Baltimore Ravens in what should be pretty decent battle. Now, let's start with first thanking our sponsor, sportstradingsystems.com. Now, Sports Trading Systems, for people who have been watching the show, watching the What's on Sports podcast with our host, John Todora. Sports Trading Systems is a service that allows you to essentially trade sports like other people trade stocks. And I mean, it's that easy. You sign up for the service and they send you an email and they recommend the trades to play. And they have not had a losing record ever, at least in the last decade. And that is compounded profits. It's literally the best way to spend your weekend, aside from maybe having a winning fantasy week. I know this is a big week for a lot of people. It's a huge week for me, as it is a make or break week for getting into the fantasy playoffs. I don't know about you guys out there, but I need a Tuesday miracle. I need J.K. Dobbins of the Baltimore Ravens to have over 7.5 points if I want to make the playoffs in my big money league. So hoping for a big game for J.K. Dobbins. But before we get into that, as we will, of course, let's go over the Pittsburgh Steelers loss to the Washington football team. That was a pleasure to watch, I'll tell you that. And we heard Chase Young say it after the game. He said, I knew it, as he was running off the field. He said, Baltimore exposed some things about that Pittsburgh Steelers team. And Baltimore did. You know, with our backup squad, we exposed that Pittsburgh was not really, they shouldn't have been an undefeated team. I mean, they should have lost to us twice, really. And they finally did lose to the Washington football team, which John Todora did predict about 5 weeks ago. He said, well, I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to lose a game this year, but if they do, it's going to come against Washington in week 13. He was spot on. And yesterday on the podcast, he said to take Washington plus 10. And that was a heck of a bet too. So you love to see it. I mean, Alex Smith, what more can you say? I mean, that guy has solidified comeback player of the year. He essentially solidified that before even playing a snap. All right. But to come back and be playing winning football, to beat the undefeated Steelers, who are number one in most power rankings, conversation's over. He's the comeback player of the year. That's it. And his IQ, which we've all known, Alex Smith has had. He's a veteran. He's got experience. But to see him take the game ball, as the clock is running and run off the field to the sideline with it, you could see a little smirk on his face as he takes the ball off the field. The kicking team, they're getting set up to kick a field goal, and the refs are scrambling around looking for the ball. And Alex Smith, IQ, smartly takes that ball off the field and gives his kicker time to set up. And it was a beautiful play. You also saw him look a little bit like Patrick Mahomes. The way he was doing some pocket maneuvering, little arm flick of the ball at the last second, taking a shot because he's tough as nails. I'm loving Alex Smith. And Washington's got to be loving him too. I mean, who'd have thought that would be? He's playing like the best quarterback in the NFC East right now. So all credit due to Alex Smith Absolutely love what he's doing. Listen to this. Washington is 9-4 in games that Alex Smith has started and finished. And those teams are 3-12 without him in that span. So if you're Ron Rivera, Alex Smith is your guy. And I don't think it's much of a question. Everyone loves to see it. He's getting, even Ben Roethlisberger is giving credit where it's due to Alex Smith. So you love to see that. One thing that you do hate to see, though, is something that I call touchdown snipes. All right? This is the most frustrating thing in fantasy football. And it's essentially when a star running back or a lead running back gets 5 to 10 carries on a drive. They are integral to moving the ball down the field for the entire drive, whether it's through the air, on the ground, setting blocks. They're out there for the majority of snaps in that series. And then just when they get inside the 5 or the 10, they bring in the backup with fresh legs to punch it in for the touchdown. I mean, what does that not piss you off? That's the most frustrating thing that I've ever seen in sports. And it happened twice to my man, Wayne Gallman, who I have in every single league that I'm in. And like I said, this is a make or break week. Now, Wayne Gallman still had a great game. He had 135 yards, which I said he would. But he could have had 2 touchdowns had Alfred Morris not sniped him twice in the red zone. Once was after a 60-yard run from Wayne Gallman. Yeah, you're damn right he's tired after getting the ball all the way down there and then saying, all right, come on, Wayne, come to the sideline. We'll get Alfred Morris in there. I mean, that drives you crazy. He wasn't the only one that happened to. All right, Jeremy McNichols of the Tennessee Titans sniped a Derrick Henry touchdown. Now, this was in the fourth quarter and they were getting blown out. And McNichols did have quite a bit to do with getting the ball, down the field for the series, to be fair. But this is Derrick Henry's backfield. So you're going to tell me that Derrick Henry's going to finish without a touchdown this game. The number 1 back in fantasy, maybe number 2 behind Dalvin Cook. And they're going to give Jeremy McNichols a carry. And it worked out. But that's really just not fair. It's not fair to Derrick Henry. It's not fair to Derrick Henry owners. And I was playing against Derrick Henry, so I don't hate to see it. But like I said, I had Wayne Gallman. So I would have rather had 2 Wayne Gallman touchdowns and eaten 1 Derrick Henry touchdown that he should have had. Peyton Barber did it. He did it last night. Not to Antonio Gibson, who got injured. I mean, that is what it is. All right, the guy's not in. He gets hurt, which you hate to see. It looks like a toe injury. If I get any updates on that, I'll certainly let you guys know. But that's not good. That's not good for the Washington football team. It's not good for fantasy owners. It's not good for football. Hopefully he'll be okay. But Peyton Barber had a goal line touchdown that should have absolutely gone to J.D. McKissic. Now, I know J.D. McKissic is the satellite back, okay? He's the receiving back. He's the third down back. But he's also just the better running back. I mean, he's just much more explosive than Peyton Barber, who's never really gotten anything going in Tampa Bay. He was behind Ronald Jones, who was behind Leonard Fournette. He's been a third string running back his whole career. He's a third string for the Washington football team. It's just Antonio Gibson gets hurt. Should be J.D. McKissic's backfield. And in fact, I love J.D. McKissic going forward if Antonio Gibson is forced to miss time, which, like I said, we're not entirely sure yet. It didn't look great. Toe injuries are difficult. So that is definitely frustrating. It happened also to Raheem Mostert last night. I mean, Raheem Mostert, he only got 9 carries. I don't know how you only give that guy 9 carries and you give Jeff Wilson the same amount. And Jeff Wilson got like 3 goal line carries on the same drive. I mean, they had a penalty, so they were able to, get another first and goal. But he got stuffed 3 times from the goal line. Jeff Wilson did. because it doesn't make sense. Like, you need to be giving it to your star player. Raheem Mostert, let him just leap over the line. Let him get to the outside. He's a hell of a lot faster than Jeff Wilson. So I don't understand that. But God, that pisses me off. Anyway, touchdown snipers, most frustrating thing in fantasy football. But we move on. We deal with it. And the real takeaway is just to not let that affect you going forward. And don't go picking up Alfred Morris, all right? That's fool's gold. Same with Peyton Barber. Absolutely. Fool's gold. It's J.D. McKissick. That's who you want. All right? So on to the next topic then. Plays you never saw. Now, what is this? These are plays that either should have happened and didn't because of just lack of execution, or more frustratingly and most likely, a bullshit penalty, which we saw a couple times. We'll start with Tyreek Hill. Remember when he caught the ball, all right, he completely beat the safety, and then he stood at at the 1 yard line, turned his back to the end zone and did a little flip. God, he pisses me off. Tyreek Hill, God. I mean, he's good, all right? And if you don't want him to do a backflip in the end zone, I guess you got to stop him. All right? Like, that's kind of what Cam Newton used to say. If you don't want me doing my Superman and you don't want me dancing in the end zone, then stop me. And no one's been able to do that to Tyreek Hill, so he gets to do his little backflip. But at least Nyheim Hines waits until he gets into the end zone to do his acrobatics. Tyreek Hill, that little... he should be in jail probably. But that's a different story. Tyreek Hill also caught one of the most spectacular catches that I've ever seen. One of the luckiest catches that I've ever seen. You guys have to know what I'm talking about. The ball's tipped into the end zone, and somehow he comes down with it. And he doesn't even think he does. He thinks it hits the ground. He doesn't even argue. He trots off the field disappointingly and goes and sits on the bench. And then Andy Reid and the Chiefs, they punt. They punt with like 25 seconds left on the play clock. I mean, they could have at least ran that down for another 10 seconds and gotten a booth review. I mean, there's guys who are paid to sit up into the booth and watch every play like that and say, "Hey, coach, wait, you might want to challenge this, or you might want to look at this." Andy Reid said he's never had a wide receiver think that he didn't catch the ball. Of course, and that's, they always think they catch the ball. Even when they clearly don't, and they know they don't, and it hits the ground, they pretend like they catch it, and they convince the coach, "Yeah, challenge it. I caught it. So, those are 2 touchdowns that were taken away from Tyreek Hill and essentially Patrick Mahomes. So while Patrick Mahomes had a mediocre game, let's remember that he should have had at least another 100 yards and another 2 touchdowns just to Tyreek Hill from those plays. Some more plays that you might not have seen. DJ Chark and that first touchdown that Mike Glennon threw, it was eventually caught by Laviska Shenault into the end zone. But the only reason that Shenault caught that pass, which was intended for DJ Chark, is because Mike Glennon overthrew it so far that the safety was able to tip it, like a tip drill, back into the end zone, and Laviska Shenault happened to just be waiting in the end zone to catch that ball. That should have gone to DJ Chark. If DJ Chark was wide open and he would have been down maybe at the 5, he probably could have gotten in, knowing him. So you hate to see that. I mean, those are points that should have been DJ Chark's. It happened again at the end of the game. It was just such a bad throw by Mike Glennon. And I suppose that it's not fair to say that those are points that he should have had, because you do have to incorporate quarterback play. But just any decent throw completely changes DJ Chark's production, which I had predicted that he would have 100 yards at least, and he would have had those 2 completions been anywhere near accurate. Happened with Terry McLaurin last night too. One was on a penalty, and another was a ball that hit his hands. I mean, I guess that's on McLaurin. Like, you're Terry McLaurin, okay? You need to catch that ball. Yes, it's the Steelers defense, and it was in double coverage, but it did hit his hands. And the Steelers did a hell of a job of shutting him down. 2 receptions. I think that might be the worst performance that he's had in his entire career. So the point of this, though, is that you don't want to fade these guys. You don't want to be afraid to use them. Now, obviously, you're never going to be afraid to use Tyreek Hill or Terry McLaurin. You still need to roll them out. DJ Chark, you might be questioning now. You might be saying, damn, he's really just not getting as involved as he should. But remember, he should have had an extra 100 yards, and those were like 2 50-plus yard plays where he was wide open. The ball just needed to get there. So you hate to see that. It's not quite as frustrating as the touchdown snipers, but it's up there. Once again, the Fantasy Fallout podcast is brought to us by our friends at Sports Trading Systems, who allow you to trade sports like they trade stocks. Again, super easy. Emails right to your inbox. Text messages right to your phone. A day in advance, hours in advance. So you can go to your sports books. You can call up your bookie, whatever you need to do. You don't even need to think about it. I mean, it's an algorithm that is so much, it's beyond my comprehension completely. But it works. It's worked for me. It's worked for the thousands of people who have purchased the product. I mean, they get emails all the time about people saying, how impressed they are and how, like I said, it's literally, they tell you what to do and you do it. You don't even have to think about it. They even give you what's called a unit allocation system. So they tell you how much to bet based on what you're willing to allocate. So Sports Trading Systems is fantastic. Can't thank them enough for sponsoring the Fantasy Fallout podcast. All right, so on to my notes from the week. Kyler Murray. Everyone knows Kyler Murray, and everyone saw that amazing Hail Murray that he had to DeAndre Hopkins 4 weeks ago. Well, Kyler Murray trademarked the term Hail Murray after that play during that week. He and the Cardinals are 0-3 since. Now, I don't know if he didn't learn a lesson from Russell Wilson, or he didn't read my Jackwagon article where I called Russell Wilson out for being too worried about trademarking some stupid ass term like let Russ cook or Hail Murray. But clearly their focus is not on the football field, because the Cardinals are almost out of playoff contention now. I mean, they're still in it, but they're in 3rd place in the NFC West. They're 2 games back from the Seahawks and the Rams. 6-6 now. They were 6-3. They have lost 3 straight because Kyler Murray's too worried about trademarking some stupid term, Hail Murray. He didn't even come up with that, obviously. And he doesn't deserve to trademark it. It's not his term. If anything, DeAndre Hopkins should get to trademark it. That play was all him anyway. So you hate to see that. They really need to turn it around. If he's learned anything from Russell Wilson, is to keep your head on the game, on the gridiron. All right, my next note. Taysom Hill's the real deal. Like, we actually saw him be a quarterback, which is something that we weren't sure if he could do. I mean, let's be honest. We've had questions about Taysom Hill for years. Is he really Drew Brees' backup? Is he just a placeholder? Should it have been Jameis Winston? Well, no. Taysom Hill was pretty damn good. 27 for 37 for 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, he didn't light up the yardage on the scoreboard, okay? Sure. But he had 14 carries for 83 yards. Those are Lamar Jackson numbers, all right, from last year. 14 carries. And look at it. He's an absolute beast. And he's making good throws. He's making good decisions. Like Taysom Hill is the absolute real deal. And you know what else it tells me? Maybe Drew Brees doesn't come back and get the starting job right away? I don't know. That's interesting. Or maybe he does, but Sean Payton starts to give Taysom Hill 40% of quarterback snaps. Is that a lot? Maybe. But the Saints are 8-0 without Drew Brees in the last 2 years. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater was a big part of that. So has Taysom Hill been. Taysom Hill is the real deal, and I think he's proving that to everyone, even me. I wasn't exactly sure if he could do it, but I love seeing him do it. Sure, it was the Falcons. He gets the Eagles this week. He gets the Chiefs in 2 weeks. That'll be interesting. That's going to be a marquee matchup right there, Chiefs Saints. So I'm loving Taysom Hill. I really am. You know who else I'm excited about? Jalen Hurts. Like, he looked good. All right, now it's not hard to really look good after how bad Carson Wentz has been. But Jalen Hurts outproduced Carson Wentz with less snaps than him this week. And you know what? I don't think that the Eagles look back at this point. Carson Wentz has been so bad that Daniel Jones, Alex Smith, I guess you can't necessarily say Andy Dalton, but Carson Wentz is in the conversation for the worst quarterback in that division. Okay? And the Eagles have been feeling it. 3-8-1. Ugh. God. Miles Sanders can't get anything going with Carson Wentz back there. 10 rushes for 31 yards. That's a joke. I love seeing Dallas Goedert as their primary target, their leading receiver. And I think Jalen Hurts only helps Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders going forward. I'm excited about Jalen Hurts. I really am. There's been plenty of comparisons to Lamar Jackson for him. And that's obviously much too far, too soon. I like the prospect. I'm excited to see what Jalen Hurts can do going forward. He gets the Saints this week, so that's a real tough matchup for him. I almost would like to see Carson Wentz get beat up a little bit, kind of take that beating stats-wise against the Saints. I don't want to hurt Jalen Hurts' confidence. No pun intended. And then, like I said, Alex Smith. Alex Smith is the best quarterback in that division, and he's gonna play in a playoff game this year. Is that amazing or what? To think that Alex Smith, who had a brush with death, like a very real chance of not surviving an infection from multiple surgeries just 2 years ago, is now out there beating an undefeated Steelers team and potentially leading his Washington football team to a winning record and a playoff appearance. So you love to see that. All right, we're going to have to wrap it up here soon as I'm going a little bit over. But for my final topic, we're just going to quickly preview Cowboys and the Ravens. So the Cowboys traveling to the Charm City, Baltimore, Maryland tonight for an 8:05 kickoff, Tuesday Night Football. I love it. All right, I know people are feeling weird about it. They don't think there should be games on Tuesday or, Monday night doubleheader. I love it. It's more football. And I think the NFL would be smart to capture even more days out of the week. Let's just do a Tuesday Night Football. You can change the scheduling. I mean, look at how flexible they've been this year. They've had to be because of COVID. But that just shows that the NFL has their pockets are deep enough to make any schedule changes that they need to. And it only helps with ratings, with revenue, to have another primetime spot. So I'm super excited for this game. Like I said, I need big things to happen. I need J.K. Dobbins over 7.5 points. What do you think? I mean, it seems possible, right? Seems likely. Do they give him the ball 15 times, as they should? as they should have been. God, I hope so. They got nothing to lose now. Nothing to lose. We're playing to win. Every game is must win for the Ravens. We could win out and still not make the playoffs. And that's frustrating. But Lamar Jackson is back. J.K. Dobbins is back. I like our chances tonight. I really do. I feel like J.K. Dobbins, he does get 15 carries and he does score a touchdown. Now, that is a guarantee that I gave yesterday on the What's on Sports podcast. I'm sticking with it. Not just because I need it, but because I think it's likely. I think it's necessary to get your rookie involved. He's clearly the most explosive player on the team, beside Lamar. And the line for this game is Cowboys plus 7.5. That's interesting. I don't like it. I think the Ravens are pissed off. I think they're relatively well rested, at least some players, specifically Lamar and JK. I think they're going to come out firing. I don't think this will be particularly close. 7.5 is a fine line. I would take the Ravens minus 7.5. 45 is the total. I'm staying away from it. I don't know. I don't like it. I feel like that's a good number. Vegas knows what they're doing. That's a pretty good number. But I will leave you with 3 prop bets that I like today. Obviously, I mentioned J.K. Dobbins. So J.K. Dobbins to score a touchdown, anytime touchdown. Could be rushing or receiving. It's plus 155 right now. Like I said, this is their lead back. Behind Mark Andrews, he should be their primary focus on offense. Get this kid the ball. He can be a goal line back too. He's tough. He's like a little Ray Rice. Look at him. He can hop over the line on the goal. He can do whatever he needs to do. He's J.K. Dobbins. Give him the ball. Another prop bet that goes along with that, J.K. Dobbins over 1.5 receptions. It's just minus 106. Like, come on, if he's playing 75% of the snaps, which he should be doing, as I mentioned, Mark Ingram is just kind of old now. Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, they were not impressive. And when Gus Edwards does get carries, which he probably should, he's tough as nails. He's a ball carrier first and foremost. He's a no nonsense, bull nose runner. Not someone that you normally look to throw passes to out of the backfield, but J.K. Dobbins, that is what he does. So I love the prospects of him just getting 2 receptions. That's all he needs. Final prop bet that I will leave you with. Okay. Lamar Jackson over 181.5 passing yards. Now that doesn't even seem like a lot. 185. And if this was last year, that number would be 245. All right, now Lamar Jackson has gone over 185 yards. I'm sorry, it's 181. So he's gone over 181 yards all but 3 times this year. And that does seem rather low for the reigning MVP. This is a Dallas defense that no one has been scared of. There's not a real reason to be scared of them. And when in a must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens, after some much-needed rest for Lamar Jackson, I love his chances to go out there and throw for over 200 yards. So I'm taking the over, slamming the over. Where's my sledgehammer? Peter Gabriel fans out there. Minus 110. Over 181.5 yards for Lamar Jackson. And that's all I got for you today, folks. I'm right under time. So that's how we do it. Now, look, thanks again. Sports Trading Systems. Trade sports like you trade stocks. What's on Sports. Go on there, check out our website. We have a bunch of great articles coming out today. Our Jack Wagon of the Week is none other than Greg Williams, who I hear is available. Anybody wants to hire him, he's looking for work. He's got his things packed up. He can coach your high school team, maybe. We'll see. I doubt he gets another job. I really do. He might have one of the worst overall records for a defensive coordinator, because I believe he was with the Cleveland Browns when they had Hugh Jackson. So that's what? 0-16, 1-15, and 0-12 with the Jets. Not great, Greg. Not great. I hate to put you as the Jack Wagon of the Week, but can't lie. You've been a Jack Wagon. You were a Jack Wagon on Hard Knocks, making fun of Carl Nassib, whatever his name is. It was pretty funny, but still, Greg Williams, kind of a dick, and just not that good of a football coach. And we've all seen it now. Anyway, hey, I'm out of time, but thank you everyone for listening. Much love. Let's go Ravens. Have a great Tuesday.